You guys are doing an amazing job. Listen, we have three more individuals that needs to come up. Jameson is somebody that I respect more than anything. Jameson hit me up. He goes to Vermont Law School. This man is one of the smartest black men I've literally ever had the opportunity to develop a friendship with. He fucking cooks catfish. This dude is a G. Like it's delicious. He also invited me to actually do a documentary on everything that they're trying to accomplish with everything that's going on around the world. Obviously, with what we're doing, with what we're here for right now. So the idea that he asked me from Vermont Law School to be a part of that, to really help him build this visual that we all need so badly. The fact that he asked me to do that, I'm absolutely honored. So this is your official thank you from me in person. Jameson, come on out, buddy.
Hello, everybody. You don't have to stand. If you want to sit, feel free to do so. My name is Jameson Davis. I am a 3L at Vermont Law School, former select board member for the town of Hartford, Vermont. And I do want to acknowledge Alicia being a current member of the town of Hartford in Hartford, Vermont. So I'm going to say a few words and be myself, and we can go from there. So white supremacy has plagued America since its conception. It's actually plagued America since the conception of what we often refer to as the American dream. According to Oxford, the lawyer in me looks stuff like this up. The American dream is the ideal by which equality of opportunity is available to any American, allowing the highest aspirations and goals to be achieved. With the presence of white supremacy, institutionalized and systemic oppressive tactics built within the structure of our society, for those in the BIPOC community, the American dream is not one that can be achieved based on equality. The absence of equity in the definition of the American dream encapsulates how American culture has chosen to continuously exclude and leave behind women and men of color, specifically Black Americans. For the ideals of white supremacy to become embedded in the American culture, it needed a backing. It needed an authoritative structure. The justice system will become that. The structure that will provide the necessary institutional support to help foster the marriage between determining what is just and white supremacy. You see, the judges, often referred to as the gatekeepers of the law, would they themselves be the very reason why racism and its views are still accepted in the courts today. To this day, this is fact, the only Americans who have ever received governmental restitution for the forced slavery were white slave owners who were compensated for their loss of human property. We cannot move forward without first acknowledging our past. So I would like to do so. See, because the TransAtlantic slave trade was the largest movement of people in history. Between 10 to 15 million Africans were forcibly transported across the Atlantic. See, this figure grossly underestimates the actual number of Africans enslaved, killed, or displaced as a result of the slave trade. At least 2 million Africans died during the infamous Middle Passage across the Atlantic. Another 15 to 30% died during the march to or confinement along the coast. Altogether, for every 100 slaves who reached the New World, 40 died. So what you're seeing and experiencing today with the racial and social justice movement, which is led by Black Lives Matter, is accumulation of intergenerational strength, perseverance, faith, grit, determination, and resiliency. Passed down from our African ancestors. Our fight for freedom didn't start a month or so ago with the deaths of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, nor did it start in the 50s and 60s with the civil rights movement. See, we've been fighting for our freedom since the minute we were enslaved. In 1739, there was the Stono Rebellion, which was the largest slave revolt ever staged in the 13 colonies. The Haitian Revolution between 1791 and 1804. There was the German Coast Uprising that took place in 1811, led by Charles Dessalines, who would become the largest and most sophisticated slave revolt in the U.S. history. In 1839, there were the Mindi Africans who fought themselves free while on the Amistad, and again fought themselves free in the American court system. In 1893, there was Nat Turner, who led a group of 75 men against 300 state militia. You see, these actions and our desire to be free is what led to the civil rights movement. It's what led to the current racial and social justice movement happening right now. American systems and structure which embedded in white supremacy and superiority requires Black people to remain resilient fighters. And we will do so until the day comes when we no longer have to fight for our freedom. You see, because if the cruelties of slavery could not stop us, the opposition we now face will surely fail. We must continue, and I've said this before, but we must continue to ban the chokehold. We must continue to also realize that chokeholds are not always physical. It does not require always your white hands wrapped around my black neck, or your white knees pressed against my jugular, or police batons. You see, chokeholds that we suffer are indeed built within your systems and your processes. A chokehold is redlining, which gives the bank's ability to draw a literal line around Black communities and areas to keep us out and beneath. You see, a chokehold is going through the entire corrupt criminal injustice system and only seeing white faces. A white prosecutor, a white defense attorney, a white law clerk, a white bailiff, white jurors, and of course a white judge. A chokehold is working for an organization that silences your blackness. A chokehold is when roughly only 4% of all lawyers in America are Black men and women. A chokehold is when we are required to take the scraps of food left behind for us to create soul food, only for white people to find ways to make money off that too. A chokehold is when our creations are no longer ours, when they become appropriated and its history retold with only white faces. Rock and roll was created by Black people. Little Richard once said, the blues had an illegitimate baby, and we named it rock and roll. Fats Domino, Lloyd Price, Ray Charles, Little Richard, Chuck Berry. These are the creators of rock and roll. Yet, the token Black nominee has become a Hall of Fame tradition since 2015. The hip hop culture was created during some of the worst times to be black in the city of New York. Today, it is the most influential and appropriated culture in the world. You see, black art for years has provided entertainment for whites, while for us as black people, it has provided safe spaces for expression and growth, for us to find out who we are and who we can be without the shackles and chains of the white community and expectations holding us down. To my black brothers and sisters out there who are listening, my message to you is simple. We were never slaves. We were enslaved. There's a huge difference. Last thing I'll leave with is, in the memory of our civil rights leader and icon that we lost last night, Representative John Lewis. If he was standing here, he would say, I want to see young people in America feel the spirit of the 1960s and find a way to get in the way. To find a way to get in trouble. Good trouble. Necessary trouble. Thank you.